the Sustainable Development Goals, we are saying we should leave no one behind and start with the farthest first.
Innovation is a key part of the recovery process.
We set up the first assistive tech accelerator in Africa to support innovators who are building technology to support persons living with disability.
Anybody who is interested in trying a person with disability in employment, contact us.
We work like thrice as hard.
We have to remember that there's 15% of the population that's being left out if your products and services are not accessible.
For 1 month, every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m., join the conversation on KTN News and Standard Group platforms.
Good afternoon, class. Good. Can sit down. Today's class is about wire drive. And who knows what wire drive is? Yes, what is it? Yes?
Yes, animal.
Animal. Good. Wire drive refers to the wild animals, insects and birds in their natural habitat. It also includes plants. So in Kenya, we are blessed because we have a lot of wildlife. And many tourists usually come to our country to see wildlife. Wildlife includes animals. Give me an example of an animal that you think is wildlife. Yes?
Elephant.
Elephant, very good.
Giraffe.
Giraffe, good. Lion.
Antelope.
Antelope. How many of you have seen these animals? How many have seen an elephant? Who has seen an elephant? You've seen an elephant? Good. You've seen?
A lion.
You've seen a lion? You've seen? Elephant. Yes?
Cheetah.
Cheetah. So today we have some guests, and these guests are Dennis and Samson. They have some machines and they are going to help us to see those animals in their natural habitat. These machines will make us actually experience as if we are in those places. Places like Mount Kenya, places like Nairobi National Park. How many of you have been to Nairobi National Park? Yes, Masai Mara. How many have been to Masai Mara? You've been to Masai Mara? Good. Now with these machines, we are going to experience as if we are in Masai Mara or as if we are climbing Mount Kenya on top of Mount Kenya just when we are here. Okay? So I want now to introduce these two guests. They come and then they are going to come with their machines, and we are going to be picking one person at a time so that we have this experience. Dennis and Samson, welcome.
Yeah, so we have some machines here. These machines are known as virtual reality. So we will have two people that we are going to test on so that you can experience what teacher was telling us about the wildlife. Hold this one and adjust this. You tell me if that's okay. If you see any writings on the screen, you read it, because we'll ask you some questions after that. You can turn around and see what is there.
Zebras, the great migration wildebeest, and zebras occur from July, September as they elephant.
You're seeing a rhino?
Yes.
You'll tell me another animal that you see.
So now let me remove you.
so that you can be able to tell us what is. Wow. Remove the mask. Good. You're back here. Ulikuwa umeenda safari. You have gone for a journey. You saw animals?
Yes.
You were somewhere in Masai Mara?
Yes.
And you saw some water falling in a waterfall?
Yes.
Good.
So Teresa, tell me about the experience.
It was like real.
Like real? What did you like about it?
I went somewhere that I did not go before.
Yeah. What did you like about the whole experience? What's your favorite site?
Seeing animals and the waterfalls.
Were they far from you or near to you? They were very near to you. Have you ever been in such close contact with the cheetahs and the elephants? You've never been. So okay, fine. What else did you see? Did you see yes? Forest. Okay. Did you see a mountain? Which mountain is that? It was a hill. That is Mount Kenya. Okay? Have you ever been to Mount Kenya? That is Mount Kenya. What else did you see? I heard that you are somewhere inside with the fish. What was that? Yes? You were in the water. Okay, what was happening inside the water?
There were fish.
Yeah, there were fish.
We are a network comprising of close to 30 disability-focused organizations in the country, where I'm the chairperson, coordinating programs that we are having in education, in health, and also protection, which covers also social protection. I'm a trained teacher by profession, having done special needs education. Did some teaching, but not for a very long time, handling children with special needs. And after that, then I moved to work with NGOs, which are basically having programs to empower the vulnerable people in the communities, that including persons with disabilities, and in this case, children with disabilities. So that in itself created a passion in me to see how we can improve and serve children with disabilities much more better in the areas of education, and especially in this era when we are talking about inclusive education. So looking at it, is our education system really inclusive to the extent that children with disabilities would find it easily accessible and can attain good quality outcomes from that system. Action for Children with Disabilities, we came up with a virtual reality pilot project, so to say, with the aim of testing how we can deploy virtual reality to educate learners with disabilities. We had a focus on learners with intellectual disabilities at the beginning, which is really looking at children that have autism, children that have dyslexia, and other intellectual conditions that would maybe limit their level of understanding, retention of knowledge, memory, and such kind of thing. So what we've done is we've developed some content which we've put in a virtual reality headset, the one that I'm holding on my hand. And now with this content, we are able to take some scenes, either from social studies, environmental studies, or geography. We are able to take these scenes to the classrooms where the children are, recognizing that children with disabilities miss out on a number of opportunities when it comes to some of these practical learning experiences. For instance, you would find that when a school is organizing children to go out for an excursion, maybe to the national park, for some reason, you would find some teachers having maybe some difficulty allowing a child with autism to accompany them. Or even a parent would be kind of scared. You don't know how the child would react, so would opt out and say that, oh, no, just leave my child as in school or at home as the others are going. So that way in itself is really denying that child a very useful experience. Otherwise, a right which is supposed to access and limits even his performance and understanding of the environment around him. So with this gadget, the virtual reality gadget headset, we are able to aggregate content from maybe wildlife as a subject area of focus, maybe the ocean or the coastal sceneries as an area of focus, maybe forests. We are teaching about forests. We are teaching about deserts, you know, Chaubi Desert and the rest. We are able to get those images in 360 degrees, put them into the VR headset, and take the set to the child where he is. And once the child wears this headset and it keeps rolling, the child will get immersed into that environment, otherwise you would have missed going to see in the national park. So it gives you an experience, an immersive experience, which makes you feel that actually you are right in that national park. That sense is the one that we are saying that for a child with disability who has challenges in retention, in memory, in recalling, it would aid in creating that imagery in the brain of that child, and we believe that it will take longer to erase that kind of experience. Worldwide, we see that virtual reality has been used in other sectors apart from movies and also entertainment, so to say. We've seen it being used at higher levels of education, for example, in universities, where, you know, for example, in the medical school, it's being used to teach the students how to do procedures like surgeries. In engineering, it is being used there. In car assembly plants, it's being used to, you know, teach the students how to assemble a car and that kind of thing. So for us, we looked at it that the virtual reality, yes, very good experience, but the level of application is far way beyond the reach of the majority where they are. So we thought, how can we now customize this, bring it to the education sector, and even bring it much lower to the basic education level? Piloting this use of virtual reality has taken us 3 months now. We got support from UNDP Kenya, and it is through a challenge that we participated in. They were seeking, UNDP was seeking for innovations, ideas that can make inclusion for persons with disability achievable, so to say, or promote inclusion of persons with disabilities. So we made an application and pitched for this, and luckily it caught their eye, and we were able to be one of the finalists among several applicants, we were told so. So 5 of us made it to the final and received a grant. Now with that kind of support, we were able to bring on board other teams, other partners, to now even explain the idea that we had to them, and then see how we can complement ourselves in terms of our expertise to package all this together and end up with what we have now. We brought up a creative company which is in charge of now aggregating the content from their stocks and everywhere, because one of the conditions within the challenge was to use open source information. So that meant that we had to get a company, a creative company that is applies these kind of issues, put the information together, of course with our guidance. We did the first drafts of the content. We reviewed them, of course. We consulted teachers. One of the institutions that we consulted the teachers is Dyslexia Kenya, which runs the school, Area Gem Talent School, to just give us some feedback in terms of which other areas they thought we could focus on. With that, we were able to engage with the creatives again, so that we edit accordingly, so that it fits within the time that we wanted it to fit.
We started this organization with my sister, my twin sister, who is also having a child with dyslexia. At the time we were starting, though we were finding out this dyslexia organization, there was no one in the country talking about dyslexia. We realized that our children had they were limited in learning, and especially in reading and spelling. And during that time, there was harshness in school for children who are not able to read. And as a teacher, and a special needs teacher, I realized that it's not only my own son, but in the same class that I was teaching, there were quite a number of other students. So we decided on, we thought of how we can reach out to so many other parents who are going through the same difficulties that we were going, and that's why we started Dyslexia Organization Kenya in 2010. Yeah, it is registered with NGOs. But after creating awareness using media, women groups, churches, and schools, we realized there was a gap. That as much as we told the parents about children having difficulty, there was no support in school. So we were motivated to start a school, and 2 years after the registration of Dyslexia Organization Kenya, we registered we started Rare Gem Talent School. Dyslexia is a condition that impairs somebody from reading, writing and spelling, and sometimes they have information processing is slow. In our classes, we have children with dyslexia, children with regular ability, that's what I call them. And what we do, we measure on individualization. So as much as we are planning for the whole class, there is that plan for a child or the children who have learning difficulties, such that the teacher is going to reach out to them as an individual.
So where are you now?
It is like bringing the world in and fitting it in a class, and bringing the different parts of the learning in reality. I've seen it's awesome. I think it is something that can help the children, and it has, like we have seen with our students. I was thinking of how we teach and tell children about coral reefs. Now this one, they have seen it, and they have seen where we tell them coral reefs is found in ocean. That is something that is it doesn't exist in their mind. But now using this technology, they have seen, and like they teach. I feel like you are in the room, or you are not in the room. You are in the national park, and you are there. So yeah, it's fantastic.
The ministry has a standalone policy known as the Sector Policy for Learners and Trainees with Disabilities that was actually launched by His Excellency the President of Kenya in May 2018. And this policy document provides for all those dimensions and aspects of inclusive education with regard to learners with disabilities. So it provides for access, it provides for their functional assessment, and it provides for the required resources and technologies that they need to access quality education in the different schools. Additional funding has been allocated to support learners with disabilities. So that, and even in terms of teachers, we have quite a number of teachers who have undergone specialized training so that they are able to support learners with the different disabilities and other special needs. We have, as a ministry, planned for the rollout of that policy, and there are certain things that are already happening. For instance, in this country, a child cannot be sent away, denied admission to any institution on account of his or her disability.
There's always room for improvement. So I would say more of a multidisciplinary approach when working with children with special needs. It would be lovely to have a whole team working with the children, starting from the special needs teachers, followed by the interpreters, followed by the occupational therapist, the physiotherapist, the speech and language therapist, and the various learning mentors. So if we can have a multidisciplinary team approach when it comes to inclusion when they're in schools, it can be really good.
Talking to the different partners that we've engaged with over the course of this innovation challenge, one thing has come out that there are not as many players who are specifically focused on disability inclusive innovations. So you have people working in the innovation space, but it's kind of like for the general audience. But for this innovation challenge, we wanted innovations that were specific to people with disabilities and preferably being driven by people with disabilities. So perhaps that may have been an opportunity for us to see, is it that we do not know what is out there, or how can we then encourage more innovators who are coming into this space to see that there is opportunity here, that you can focus on this demographic and come up with solutions that can grow beyond ideas.
Innovation is a critical, and technology innovation is a huge enabler for recovery. And Kenya being an innovation hub on the continent, it is here where we can see that digital disruption come to reality. We've supported the great COVID-19 innovation challenge, the disability challenge, and all of those created pipelines for investments in new and innovative ways of addressing traditional problems. So we see innovation and digital as another foundation for building forward better.
We work on human rights and democracy. It's a big program where we also include gender issues, of course, the issue of disabilities, HBTQI issues, and accountability and others. We also have another area where we work on environment and climate change and energy production, where we also include now biodiversity. And then we have a last field, which is really in the economic field in inclusive production and sustaining both agriculture and other types of economic activities.